Hello everybody, Fu here, and today we're going to be celebrating that knowledge is overpowered in part 2 of our item series for Zerg.
Okay, so starting right off, first we have the Nidus Worm. It's a port. Buy it. It's exactly like the Terran drop pod.
Oh, by the way, for heroes that items that were the same for last thing, we're going to do them again. Maybe not specific, but
yeah,
just in case someone just wants to see Zerg or Protoss or whatever.
Yeah, but they have the same.
And next we have Creep Tumor, which is a very good ability for Queen, and it's a good item too.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can have a queen and any team should have a queen, it's not really necessary. It is actually very, very good if you get it really early along with a Nidus, pop a creep down or two. It's basically like getting a speed item for just like 70 minerals.
With a
because you're
bit
not
of
really
regen.
going to be leaving that certain area.
Yeah.
Plus a little
one important thing, please do not put them on the lane all the way to your lane. Because if your creeps are running on creep, they're going to get too far ahead and they're going to get wiped by defenses.
Also, don't put too many of them down in the game with me, otherwise I will be lagging and be very, very upset.
Actually, we'll all be very upset. But
next we have Overseers, which is the Zerg detection. It's probably the worst detection, but they're really cheap, really spammable.
Yeah.
Look a little bit like that.
They're surprisingly tanky. And so early game, I mean, since they're so cheap and you can put them up even against a ghost which can shoot up, it's going to take him forever to bring one down, which means you have plenty of time to actually catch him. But
yep, but they're not very good for map vision. Actually, you know, with map vision, Terran has scan and sensor towers. You'd think, okay, Zerg has Overseers, right? Nope, Creep Tumors, to be honest.
No, Creep Tumors are better.
In the game can support having Creep Tumors, and that's what you want to get.
Yeah. So next we have the Nidus Canal. Buy this. Buy this as soon as you go back.
And do not do this. You
yeah,
do not need Nidus in your base. The beacon will function as the Nidus in your base.
Yeah. Put your Nidus right behind your defenses, here, 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 here. And basically just whenever you need it back, use it. You can abuse these things to living hell because you can regen everything and be back before the next wave's even done.
Yep, I agree completely. You should definitely get Nidus as every hero with Zerg that can make everybody a caster.
Especially here. But, I mean, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different episode entirely, to be honest.
Okay, so next we have the Spore Cannon, which, arguably, it is the crappiest, defense that you can buy.
Yeah, against Creep, I would argue that it is second best, but otherwise it's crappy because it's kind of a high HP, low DPS thing. Put them everywhere. They are detectors, which is really one of the best features, which means no sneaky cloaked heroes getting in your base.
Yeah.
But it's not really worth.
Don't buy them early game, it's just feed. Okay.
And next we have the same ones for all the races, rebuild, building production, and spawn wave. Don't do them under certain circumstances.
Don't do them
with build reproduction, almost never. With spawn units, again, almost never, except like if you're losing buildings to like creeps and nothing else, or maybe you've got a creep block built up and you want a big push. Otherwise, no.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have Bug's Nest, which is very good, but so laggy. It heals all structures within a radius at a pretty good rate. The problem is, well, that's all it does, so don't buy them early game. Don't use them to hold your defenses, most likely. And they lag the living hell out of the game, so if you place a lot of them,
outside the lag, they're also the worst because unlike obelisks for Protoss or orbitals, they cannot heal heroes. They will only heal buildings.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have the basic creep ups. Again, as we said in the Terran video, these are good for lane pushing, just overall getting a passive push with or without heroes. It just helps a little bit.
Yep. And next we have anti-hero upgrades, which I think are the most important. They will make your creep less AoEable very early. They will make heroes more susceptible to creep.
Yeah.
And might actually get you a few kills.
Then we have upgrade defenses, which, as we said in the Terran video, it's just don't do it unless you are expecting a backdoor and you need time.
Or push, etc., etc. Worthless unless your buildings are actually taking damage. The increase to spines really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
So just really only for your production buildings and your main. Next,
stat upgrades.
We have stat ups. Very simple. If you already have everything else you want, buy stat ups.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, so moving on to the next building, we have the attack, energy, and armor. Works the same way for every race. You get about the same amount for your minerals for each upgrade. These are your primary way to upgrade your hero, and you focus attack and energy first because they get you farm, buy armor when you need it.
Yeah, and one thing to note, that will increase your effectiveness in the target area by the exact same amount every time, but it will get progressively more expensive every time.
Yeah. Oh.
And finally, moving into the passive and spells.
Zerg.
You have Chrysalis, which is basically a stat up, but it takes up an inventory space. Very cheap. If you have room and money, no reason not to,
Yeah.
right?
Then we have Antenna, which are the Zerg side item. They do exactly the same as all the other side items. It's more important for Zerg because you don't have scans and your overseers don't really, they don't detect if there's DA around. So buy these if you're against the DA. Otherwise, buy them if you have
Kinda
space.
like Chrysalis. You've got money and room.
Why not?
Might as well. And next we have Speed, which is just as important, if not more important,
For Zerg.
than the Terran version. It does the same thing. 25% passive. Speed increase. Very, very good. And since Zerg is very strong at being mobile, etc., speed is even more important.
Yes. Then we have Frenzy, which is one of the 200 mil items. It boosts the move speed and attack speed within a radius of 8 by 6%. And that may not seem like much, but when you're talking about heroes who would normally be equal speed, that 6% is very useful. Especially if you're getting behind a large creep push, and then it really, snowballs. It's situational somewhat, but on certain heroes you just need it.
Yeah, and again, if you've got money and you got room, that's one of the things that you might as well get, because it doesn't cost energy or anything like that to work. Pro tip, that 6% speed buff can be very helpful in a mirror matchup, or just a matchup where the hero has the same speed or maybe just a little bit more speed than you, because that extra speed boost can help you get away or get the advantage in a fight.
Okay, next we have Burrow, which I see a lot of people getting, and it's just not that great of an idea.
Like, sometimes it would help if you're getting ganked and you can hide there until teammates arrive, but most of the time it'll just make them sit on you until you either get up or they get detection, and it's a longer respawn time.
Good players aren't going to lose track of you. They're going to get some detection and they're going to kill you. So it's not going to really save you.
Next we have Organic Carapace, which is the region item, does the same thing as its Terran version.
Except for Zerg, I would not suggest buying it because you have Nidus Canals. There's really no reason to buy regen if you have a Nidus anywhere nearby.
Yep, Nidus. Even though we've done this item, I cannot stress it enough, always get a Nidus.
Yes.
Always.
Alright, then we have...
Next we have Enhanced Cellular Life, significantly better than the Terran Shield item. And increase your max life by 25%. Very, very good.
Yeah, if you're any sort of tanky hero or even a slightly tanky hero, get this. With some other heroes.
Turn the tide in a lot of battles. Next we have Glaive Worms. Why is this even here? It's just...
Glaive Worms is useful in some situations, some heroes. The double heroes especially get a lot out of Glaive Worm, and fast heroes get something out of Glaive Worm because it keeps your opponent from running away.
It's a little bit like Immolation. I mean, it's not really going to help much, but if it goes
Extra
well,
damage.
they would have been able to port if you didn't have Glaive Worms.
Then we have...
Next we have Vampirism, which is great for melee heroes, gives you 15% lifesteal.
Yeah, don't get it if you're ranged. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who are ranged heroes buy this. It doesn't do you any good unless you get right next to them and then your animation switch over to melee. But really, why would you do that?
Actually, I will say that is not always the case, because one time I was roached with 100% lever. I bought Vampirism, walked into melee range of a building, and it got...
Well, yes, I mean, in certain situations, but...
Because ranged Zerg heroes do have melee attacks, but yeah, almost never get it.
Next we have Venom, which is actually surprisingly useful. It's 12.5% slow of move and attack speed for 2 seconds, and if you have any decent firing rate, this is going to keep proccing for the entire time. What this does is it keeps people from running away, and if they do turn to fight, it puts them at a 12.5% disadvantage because they can't hit you as fast. So it's actually very nice for...
It's a lot like concussive attacks, except it'll be more consistent. And it's very great to get you a speed advantage on another hero, get you an advantage in a fight. It's really, really good if you're just fighting face-to-face.
I'll leave this next item for Fu, since this is his specialty.
Ooh, Broodling is my favorite. I'm beginning to suspect out of recent play that your first item should always be a Nidus and Broodlings, because Broodlings are really good early. The main difference between Broodlings and Lockdown is 1, Broodlings are a much shorter stun, but 2, they're really cheap. So why not press your advantage, get Broodlings really early. They do a significant, noticeable amount of damage early on, and not less damage later on. So use that early, get in almost any hero. It does not matter if you can support it because you have a Nidus. You can pop in and out. You have infinite energy.
The only real disadvantage is you can't hit air units, but yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah, that's another big difference. But I think at some point in the game, every Zerg hero should have this item.
Next we have Transfuse, which is an instant restore of 60 health plus 6 per level. It's very nice on certain heroes, so if you're a hero who has a lot of energy and goes into combat, it's not a bad idea. The only problem is it's often better just to carry a Nidus and go back with the Nidus.
Also, if you're playing base defense or something against back doors, you can just get Transfuse instead of Bug's Nest if you're going to be sticking around the base. You know, just every time you walk by a building, Transfuse it. You don't have to waste money on Bug's Nest. That's just one thing. That used to be the only way that Zerg could heal its buildings, but it can still heal it.
Next we have Scourge, which, keeping in the spirit of the Terran anti-air, are also pretty much crap. Now, there are uses for Scourge. They can do a lot of damage if they hit. The problem is they can be shot down, and they're not very fast, as you might see. They have a move speed of 3.75. Most air heroes are actually going to be able to avoid that, though.
Yep, and the only effective way, if you are going to use it, build it up and then send it all in at once.
Okay, so next we have Drop Pod. You can hit any location on the map that you can see with Drop Pod. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It does 50 plus 5 per level, but it spawns 3 infested Terrans, increases the damage a little bit, and it's an AoE that, yeah, you don't have to be anywhere near it to do it.
Yep, case in point.
Who is about to
Look at that
drop.
lane.
Bam.
Drop Pod, there are all the Marines. It also spawns 3 infested Terrans, which do a little bit of extra DPS. There is a very cruel strategy involving this, having an Overlord get Changelings, or even one time Zerglings, just running Zerglings into the base to get vision, and then drop podding. You can use the infested Terrans to get vision, so you can continuously chain drop them if you time it right. It's very powerful.
Moving on. Razor Swarm. Razor Swarm is the Zerg AoE. It does 100 damage per level, which means even when they have anti-hero level 2, you can generally wipe creep waves anyway. I would say buy this very, very quickly regardless of hero, because again, you have a Nidus, you can sustain anything. It wipes creep waves very well, it's a great farming tool, and even against heroes it does a lot of damage if you can keep them inside it. It slows them for 20%.
And that's what Broodlings are for. But Razor Swarm is very great, looks really nice. Unfortunately, it does not hit your own workers.
That would be cruel.
Good for this video, I suppose. But Razor Swarm, very good. My personal favorite AoE because it will wipe any creep wave for the most part. It just won't hit all of the creeps. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the Zerg item guide with knowledge is overpowered. I hope you guys enjoyed.
And this is Jeff signing off.